So, welcome officially to our podcast. This is something that we've been dreaming of and working on for quite a while. But one of the things we wanted to wait on was to be able to launch it in our new mental wellness center. We have created a model of care for trauma that is unlike anywhere else in the country. We are getting to not just treat trauma, but to heal trauma. And so today we want to continue our conversation on trauma. You, of course, if you're following us on our social channels, you've been seeing our Modality Monday, where we're giving you just a little glimpse of how we're treating kids. And one of the trauma modalities that we're seeing the biggest impact with is PCIT. And so I've invited December Guzzo, one of our therapists, our clinical director, who is leading PCIT with us, to talk a little bit more about it. So put this in layman's terms for, moms and dads that are out there that are watching this. They're needing help. They don't even know where to start. How could PCIT be an answer to their problems?
PCIT is a modality where we teach the caregivers play therapy skills. So instead of just coming in once a week, twice a week and getting therapy, we are going to educate the parents and caregivers on how to take that back home and intervene with the children immediately, right away, and more constantly.
And so bringing that parent in, because a lot of times we've seen historically that a child will come to therapy. You'll start to see as a therapist some benchmarks and goals that's being met, but maybe they can only come once every couple of weeks, or there may be a time spread out, and there's not that reinforcement component at home. That really is what's making a difference with PCIT.
It is, and actually with PCIT, it's not normal kind of therapy. It's very, very research-based and very specific, and caregivers are given homework. They have daily homework. It's only 5 minutes a day, not a lot, and it's time with their child, a very specific and controlled time with their child using those play therapy skills. So they have homework that they're doing every day. They're using these skills in different parts of their day. They're coming into session with us, and we're coaching them. So I'm in a separate room, and the caregiver and child is in a room together, and I'm coaching them through a two-way mirror and an earpiece. So they're getting real-time correction in things that are happening with that child. And that's the first part. The child-directed is what we call our CDI section of PCIT, and that's where we're really filling the bucket of attention, attachment, love, compassion. And it gives these children self-esteem. It helps children with ADHD with focus and attention. And it's just helping the family get along better. So we're really, really filling that bucket in the first section. And then the next phase of PCIT is parent-directed interaction. And that is where we put in some commands, directions, and a good way to use a timeout chair and a timeout room, because children need structure, and we want to fill that bucket first, build that attachment, and then give the parents the skills to use every day to then manage those behaviors, and just really create a happier environment at home.
And so the feedback we're getting from parents, they're like, where have you been all my life? Share with us some success stories and some wins that you've experienced with some of your families and clients that you've that have fully embraced and come on board with PCIT.
Oh, Lee, there's so many. It's almost every day we're celebrating with them. When we're doing the coaching sessions and they're meeting criteria, or they've worked really, really hard on a certain skill and they get it in session and it works and they see it work with their kid. So every day we're celebrating that. But then in a larger scale, we talked the other day about a client that I have, and these families come with challenges. Really, really struggling on a daily basis sometimes with how to parent and respond to their child. And one specifically I can think of right now, because actually I just saw them yesterday and they're graduating next week, and it's just an unbelievable feeling. Just their day-to-day is more level and more comfortable. And when that caregiver comes in and we go over how their week was, and there were no explosions, there were no fights, there was a direction, a command, and the child complied. And the biggest one actually for me, which is my favorite, is they come in and they tell me, my child is asking for special playtime. They want that time. They enjoy it. And when the parent sees that and understands that's what the child was needing, and they feel confident and comfortable with the skills, that's the best feeling in the world.
Because, when a child experiences trauma, a 6-year-old child can't come up to you and say, well, I was physically abused by someone close to me, and now I feel that I can't attach. They cannot vocalize that. They do not have the ability to. And so the biggest thing for parents that they need to understand is trauma always manifests in behaviors. And so if you're seeing some of these behaviors, kind of give parents maybe what to look out for that might be a good precursor of, if you're seeing this, then why don't you come in for an assessment with PCIT, and this may be a good fit for you and your family.
Yes, for sure. That child, when you ask them to put their shoes on, and they just disconnect, and we call it a dysregulated fit, that's our term here, or you're making dinner and they need to come in, and you have to ask them 5-10 times, and that doesn't work, and they don't listen, and you find yourself, I don't know what to do, and then the child has a screaming fit when they're hungry, they're tired, they just need to come in and eat. Very, very simple tasks and simple things that most, I hate to say this term, but typical children or children that haven't experienced trauma can understand and see and take a direction from a caregiver. This is when it's almost like the child goes offline. And you were talking, Lee, about trauma and what this does. And trauma creates a situation where a child completely goes offline. Their brain and their body are not connecting. Parts of their brain are not working together. And a normal response from a caregiver, right, is direction, talking, bringing them down. But when your brain is not connected, you're not going to hear anything. It's going to be like that Charlie Brown moment. The parent sounds like that to the child. In real life, when they experience trauma, they don't understand what you're saying, so they can't regulate. So co-regulation is another thing that we teach within PCIT, helping them learn how to connect back to their body and regulate. So if you're seeing that in your child, you're feeling drained and exhausted because what you think should be working isn't working, I would say reach out to us.
Yeah, we can help. We hosted a Leadership Huntsville group here. I guess it's been about a month ago, and I had a dad come up to me that was a member of that class with tears in his eyes, and he said, because we were giving a tour of the new building, they were having their event in our Eisenberg Event Center, and he said, I'm very familiar with your trauma side and your mental wellness therapy. And I said, oh, okay. And he said, yes. He said, our family's been working with December with PCIT, and the dad just has tears in his eyes, and he said, it has saved our family. And to hear someone say that is one thing, but to see the impact on that dad, he said, it was just a godsend. I don't know where we would be without it. The work that our team does is hard, and we're in the trenches most days. And so for us to have a modality of treatment where we have more wins than losses, like you're saying, to see those every day, that is not only encouragement for our therapy team, the family, but also the child. That's got to be a great milestone when goals are set and goals are reached, and they know that they are getting it. That's got to be huge for the self-esteem of our kids.
That is the great thing about PCIT, because it is so researched and structured. We have a plan. There's a path forward. And besides learning the skills that the parents are learning, and they're using it and the children are seeing it, they're becoming successful. And you have to have those wins. You can't just stay in therapy for months and months and not be able to see the fruits of your labor. Another portion of PCIT is we do some testing. So we graph the projection of how the child is doing. So we're checking those behaviors. We're checking the intensity of those behaviors, and we see the graph go down. Now things happen. spring break, holidays, a change in medication, you might see a spike in those behaviors, but it's really nice to be able to visually see that, and that's a part of PCIT. And then also have the structure of, okay, we're working on this right now. I might be feeling a little overwhelmed, but I can see what's coming next. And then exactly what you just said there is having those children be successful and see that, having those caregivers feel successful, and knowing they have the tools to manage their everyday life with their children. Really, in the trenches is parents every day trying to get their kids to school, homework done, breakfast fed, teeth brushed, maybe go out to the
Taking
grocery.
a bath. Just can we talk about, no, just
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
the basics.
everyday basic needs,
Right.
and this is where we're struggling.
Yeah.
I'm a parent as well, and man, if I would have had PCIT, I would have loved it. It would have helped me have lots of less tears in my life,
Yes.
lots of less struggles. So love being able to offer that to our community and our families, and really, like you said earlier, is heal.
Yeah. So, one of the things that we say here is we're not here to build, we're here to heal. And that really is our approach. December mentioned that one of the clients is getting ready to graduate. So that's another wonderful thing about PCIT is you do come in, you build a customized plan, but there is a start, assessment and a goal and a graduation to that. PCIT is one of the many things that we offer here. We have more than 10 trauma modalities. We encourage you to check out our website at hopefortrauma.org. While you're there, if this is something that you want more information about, you can find that on our website. If you would also like to make an appointment, come in for an assessment, meet with one of our clinicians, we would love to schedule that assessment with you so you can learn more. What we want to say to you, moms and dads, is you no longer have to suffer in silence and feel like that you can't do this. We're here to take your hand and walk this journey with you to, as you said, December, to get a house back in order, to bring calm to the chaos of life. And to be successful. We've seen a lot of, I feel like recently we've seen more adoption disruptions. And so this would also be a great resource to adoptive families of, we're just not bonding, we're not clicking. Let us help you with that. So who are some others that scenarios that might benefit the most from PCIT?
So to touch base on the adoption portion, we actually have some current clients right now. And the CDI, which is the child directed portion of PCIT, is great for that. It's really teaching them how to play and interact and connect. Sometimes families really just need that portion of PCIT. They've got the discipline handled really well. It's that connection piece that was missing. So most definitely our adoptive families. Blended families. So you have a step-parent involved. With PCIT, we like both caregivers to be involved. So you're a team working together. Everything is consistent in the home. So blended families would be great for this. A new baby in the home, older child is having a little trouble with that adjustment, really helping them connect back with you. Any big changes in your life or your family, and you really see PCIT is around the ages of 2 to 7. That's the research portion based of it. We can serve some older populations, so this is kind of the age range that we're looking at. But even just in general family situations, maybe caregivers don't agree on discipline. They've had two different backgrounds growing up. One caregiver is more about more structured discipline, maybe in a little bit of spanking or something like that. Another caregiver is a little more open and free, and helping them come together and build this discipline and this way to raise our children together.
So we just are so excited to offer this to our community. Kids to Love historically serves children in foster care, but through our Smith Family Wellness Center, here, home of the Grant Hill Trauma Team, we're able not to just serve our kids, but all kids in the community. So head over to hopefortrauma.org and learn more, and we'll see you soon.